previous director, Jim Carville, made several trips up to our parent agency in Washington, which is HRSA. And he said he used to give talks, and first of all, people were astonished to find out that leprosy still existed. And they were absolutely flabbergasted to find out they were in charge. And how long have you been doing this and what you do?
Well, I've been with the program, I guess it's about 25 years now.
Wow.
I'm an occupational therapist by trade. I also had a certification in the management of the arm and hand. And I've kind of worn a lot of hats. Right now, I am the director of Rehab and Education Department, and under that is our museum. And so we look at our museum as an educational outreach. And it's really important. It's kind of our opportunity from the public side to interact with people and get information out about the disease. We do a lot of training here for the medical professionals, and we do help people with projects and different things, but the museum is that opportunity to show the public information about the history as well as modern day Hansen's disease. And so one reason it's exciting that you guys are getting involved is we have, let me back up and say Hansen's disease is a low incidence disease. So it's not like diabetes and heart disease where everybody knows about it because you have millions of cases a year. There's a few hundred a year. But there's a pot of people down in Merritt Island, Florida that have this disease.
In Merritt Island?
Yeah, they're retirees and they're white America, because a lot of people that we deal with are immigrants from all over the world. And, we continue to deal with the stigma of this disease, which is a big thing. It's not anything, you don't have to worry, don't leave here thinking, okay, that guy said there's Hansen's disease in Florida, now we're all at risk. As you learn from the museum, 95% of the world have this natural immunity, and if you come in contact with it, it's just a low risk to get it.
Right.
But the nice thing is when an organization like yourself comes through, is for us to have the opportunity to give you information about the disease and have you understand it a little bit, and you to disseminate in your newsletters to your members. As this disease, historically we've supported folks with this disease, but it's still around.
Right.
It's nothing to fear, but if your friends happen to have symptoms, which is such a low risk, they're probably not going to get it, but it's just good to get information out. So that's one exciting thing of having a group of folks coming in from Florida. The support you guys give the museum has always been instrumental in us getting information out. What started with the Star started not only as a support for that magazine, but the veteran support transformed the lives of people in Carville. Because of the support of the veterans working with Stanley Stein, who you learned about, who was the editor of the Star, the patients gained a right to vote. It changed the way mail was processed. It changed the way they lived down there. So it wasn't that you guys just put together the support for this nice little magazine, which was really important. It was the larger support for the patients down there and how it changed their lives and really changed the lives for the rest of the people that followed after they cured the disease. So you can be really proud of that. And I think the support now gives us this opportunity to develop signage and enhance the museum and enhance the public face of what we have and the educational component of our program. Right. And it gives us this chance for people like you and everyone else to visit that museum, including a lot of grade school kids, to teach them about the history of the program, but it also gives us this opportunity to teach people about the modern day disease and the medication treatment for it, and that it's not anything to fear, because that's so important for us being able to manage people with the disease. So I always tell the 48ers when they come, the legacy's not over. We have this really cool history, but we still got a lot to do together, and it's fun to have you guys come every year and visit. I know the Florida group is getting geared up, and so this is a little new for you, but every year we have a group that comes in from the national program that come to the rec, the Cajun Rec here, and they come and visit the museum, and we have a really good time, and they've donated a lot of money. I'm sure Elizabeth pointed out some of the signage to you guys, and the panels that are out in the front of the museum and the landscape, and that big beautiful welcome center sign, and the two big signs that come in that show you the museum signs themselves. All of that was donations from the 48th that allowed us to do that. And so it's really enhanced the museum as you see it today.
So as the head of training, John's in charge of supervisor for Elizabeth, I just think she does a wonderful job.
We have a really good team, and you'll see when we take you across the street. Being that it's a holiday weekend, it's really quiet. A lot of staff have left. We don't have any patients over today, but the lab is waiting with the slide of the bacteria, so you guys can look at a slide and see the bacteria.
Good for the
I have our education department. I have some signage. You'll kind of get to see some of the production of what we do. The internal signage that we use in the museum, we can produce a lot of that here. The external signage, which is really nice panels that you guys have donated monies towards, those are produced with a vendor, and so we do the design here, but they do the production. But you'll get a chance to kind of see how it all starts. I have some sensory testing filaments, so you can kind of see how we test people's sensation, and you'll have the toy to bring back with you, go poke your friends with it. And so even though the patients aren't there, we have some things that I think will kind of give you a flavor.
One of the holy grails of leprosy research for my whole career has been to find early diagnostic tests. And that's still a quest because we don't have good ones. So some that are touted internationally and they're occasionally put in magazines and they get some press, but they're not really very good. We don't use them in this country because they're not sensitive enough to really be reliable. So it's true that we could get them earlier if we had such a test. But the big emphasis we have is to get people diagnosed fairly early when they do have a rash, or a bump, or a little patch somewhere, because it usually doesn't cause any real trouble. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't cause pain, and unless it's cosmetic, rubbing your face or something, people will often ignore it, or just ignore it.
Okay.
And then it gets advanced. Our goal is to get the disease diagnosed as soon as possible after the symptoms develop, because then we can treat it, and all the long-term disabilities that John has to take care of over there won't happen. But if the diagnosis is delayed and then people develop nerve injury, and then we get problems with hands and feet that could become lifelong problems.
But once a person, say he's got a rash, he goes to his doctor. If the doctor takes a skin sample, like you said, every lab, is this one of the things they always test for?
No, I'm a pathologist, so I'm the guy in the lab. And as a representative of the field, I like to think we don't miss it, but we do too. Basically, when a dermatologist takes a biopsy and sends it to the lab, pathologists are going to look at it and certain things are going to come to mind. Until they've had some experience and they've seen a case or two, as medicine is a practice and you learn by doing. But they'll occasionally miss it, but usually I find when a biopsy gets to the lab, you have to do a special stain to see the bacilli, because otherwise the routine stains don't show them. That's why it can be missed.
Okay.
So pathologists as a specialty are the doctors in the hospital who pretty much see all the weird stuff that's coming into the hospital. That's why you take a biopsy. And so they're more likely than a general practitioner to think of it because of what they see. But even then, sometimes they miss it. And then ultimately refer it around until somebody sends it to me and we say, oh yeah, that's what it is.
And I'm sorry, that's so many questions, but so you got a rash and the doctor takes a sample. How much damage is to the body until that rash appears?
Very little. Very little if it's early. I mean, the problem is how long you had that rash is the question. And we find people, oh, I had this for 6 years, but it didn't bother me until now. Well, 6 years is a long time, you know? And the incubation time, as you probably learned, it's hard to estimate because we often don't know the exact time of contact, but older studies